Hello, good morning, good morning. Hi, happy Sunday. Hold on. Why? You know, good morning. Sorry, I shouldn't, there, now. There. Okay, so good morning. The first thing that I want to talk about today is, this happened a lot this week, getting your marriage license to get married. You know you have to go online, you had to fill out a form, and then you need to schedule an appointment, which is online. It's a virtual appointment with the city clerk's office to get your interview. Please, 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 if you're getting married in December, January, November, October, you need to be doing this now. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait 2 weeks prior to your wedding date or a month prior. It's really hard to get those appointments. Everything is booked up. Everything is taken. So I helped a lot of couples this week that they're getting married next Friday, next Sunday, within the next week or 2 weeks. The last person that called me yesterday, if you're watching, I think your wedding is on the 28th or 29th. I don't remember, but the last week of August. So that's like in 2 weeks. We can't help you if you wait until the last minute. Yes, I know that you need to get your license within 60 days from your wedding. And if you're getting married in December, you'll be like, well, I shouldn't do it now. Yes, you had to do it now because you fill out the form. And then after you fill out the form, you had to pay $35. After you pay the $35, it will give you an opportunity to make the appointment. And when you go to get the appointment, you will see there's nothing available for August, September, October, and the first available appointment might be in November. So if your wedding is in November or December, I have people who are getting married during Christmas time, December 30th, last week of December. Please get online now. I will put all the links and everything that you need to know in the description. This is not a sales pitch. I really have no reason to do this other than to help you. Please help yourselves. Go online. I'll send you the link to the Cupid's website, and please do it now. Otherwise, there's a big chance that you won't be able to get your license. And then, I don't have to tell you how stressful weddings can be. You don't want to add to that stress, all right? Okay, that's that. I don't like the way I look in that camera. Anyway, so happy Sunday. Today, I want to pick up where I left off last week, which is wedding photography. This is another one of my pet peeves. Again, it's not a sales pitch. You don't have to hire my photographer, even though I have the best. I am the best. I have very, very, very high expectations. But anyway, listen, I just did a wedding yesterday in a beautiful home in the Bronx, Riverdale. If you're not from here, you wouldn't know, but it's a beautiful area in the Bronx called Riverdale. It was a huge house. And she had her ceremony in the driveway. I know it sounds odd, but it was gorgeous. And then the reception and everything in the backyard. And she decorated the whole house. Everything was glorious. It was dreamy. Those flowers, I know she spent thousands because I know how much things cost in the weddings. Even the cheapest, I know the minimum for certain things. And she had these big bouquets, big flower arrangements, and like walls, like with, I don't know. It was fantastic. So I know she spent a lot of money in the decoration. She didn't spend a lot of money in catering because she had her poor husband cook meal for 30, 40 people. And he was cooking until like 10 minutes before the ceremony. He was in the kitchen. Everything looked delicious, don't get me wrong. But two things I'm going to say. Number one, I wanted to talk about photographers today. I always get sidetracked. I can tell she did not spend a lot of money in the photographer. How can I tell? I just know things. She had one guy, and he was the photographer and the videographer. That's already bad news, people. Come on. You can't. That's not going to be quality. You already know off the bat. And whoever took that job, that's a person who really needs to work. He's desperate. He's money hungry. And he says, I'll do it. And you know, there were a Latino couple. And I know I'm from Argentina, so I am the expert in doing everything okay. You know, Argentinians, we are known for being a jack of all trades, master of none, meaning you do everything, but you don't excel at anything. And yeah, and that's anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into the psychology of it. I'm just going to say that I can tell she didn't spend the money in the photographer, period. And that is a big mistake. Another mistake she made, because, and this happens a lot, and you will probably do it too, a big mistake with photography. So with photography, once again, I think the wedding photography, the photographer is the most important part of the wedding after the ceremony. I think the officiant is very important too. But the photography, that's what you have forever. If you happen to stay married with this person forever, your grandchildren would see these photos. It's a big deal. These photos, I mean, I have no words to express what they mean. I don't understand how people can make this such a rocky mistake. Okay, so if it was me, which is actually what I was cheap too. I always tell you this. All the advice that I'm giving you are mostly based on my wedding, first and foremost, because I made those mistakes. And then, well, not exactly, I'll tell you what I did. But, and then I see other couples doing the same thing. And I feel just so bad for them because you do it, you don't know what you're doing. And then by the time you realize what you did, it's too late. Then you only realize the mistakes that you made after the fact, right? After the wedding is over, and it's too late. You can't change anything. You cannot get a new photographer. You cannot get your gown again and your makeup and it's over. So first mistake that she made, and a lot of people make, you hire a photographer for 8 hours. What is that about? And you want to get the best price for the most amount of time, right? You want to get someone there for 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, I don't know. What for? What do you need photos for 8 hours for? That's ridiculous. Do you really think you're going to use those photos? Are those photos? No, you're not. So if you're in a budget, I strongly recommend just get a photographer for 1 or 2 hours. 2 hours is enough. It's more than enough to get the really important moments captured, which is the ceremony, candid pictures while you're doing your vows and exchanging rings, and all the emotions are there in your face, and you want to get that, and you want someone talented, experienced, crafty to do those photos for you. You can't just, I'm going to get into that, how to pick your photographer. Such a rookie mistake. All you need is 2 hours. That's what I did for my wedding. I had 2 hours or 3 hours. Probably 3 hours because he came with us to the reception place. Still, I was cheap and I shouldn't have been. Shame on me. He was great. He was a great photographer. We made a lot of mistakes because my husband is a photographer. So he said, I don't want him to process the photos. Just do the photos and give me the thingy. What do you call it? You know, the memory card. And I'll take care of it. Yeah, this was 4 years ago. I'm still waiting for my wedding pictures. I put some on the wall. You've seen some of my photos that are on my website. But yeah, my husband never got around to doing anything. So that's a big mistake. But when you're having like a big wedding and you always want someone the whole day, I understand that. Unless you really can afford it, if you're going to have someone the whole day, like the 8 hours, you have to think it starts at about $5,000. And $5,000 is a good price. And I'll explain why. This is a lot of work. 8 hours is a lot of work for a photographer. You don't understand this, but you have to imagine this is someone who does this for a living. They're carrying this camera. They're responsible for getting everything right. And usually when you get someone for 8 hours, you don't get just one person, you get a team. So it's the main photographer, and they has either one or two helpers. That's usually how it works. So you get certain photos from different angles, and they know what they're doing. Once again, you want to hire someone experienced. Now, I personally think $5,000 in photos is crazy bananas, too much money, again, unnecessary. But if you're going to get quality, that's how much it's going to cost you. So if you want the 8 hours and someone will come and say to you that they'll do it for 1,000 or 1,500, I don't know, something under 2,000, that's a red flag. You already know they're amateur. And it's going to be just one person shooting. So now you have to, as a thinking human being and a logical person, think that you're going to have one person, one human being, holding a camera and being responsible for taking your wedding pictures for 8 hours straight. So now, even the greatest photographers of all, I mean, how good do you think that could go? How good do you think that could be, right? The person is going to get hungry or tired or thirsty or, and the mind, they're going to miss something. You can't be on for 8 hours straight. It doesn't happen. It's humanly impossible. So, am I making some sense? Are you following me? If you're going to do the 8 hours, you better get a team that knows what they're doing, and they will charge you for it. And like I said, it starts at 5,000. If it's under 5,000, I don't know. All right, but you don't have to go there. Once again, use your thinking head. The wedding starts. The most important part of any wedding, I think, is the ceremony. That's it. The ceremony is it. The ceremony is the wedding. The rest of it is people eating at a table. Who cares? The ceremony is when you're raw, your emotions are there. It's that moment that you will never forget for the rest of your life. That's the wedding. That's what you will always remember. I do a lot of little ceremonies now because of Corona. Everybody, I mean, we've been really busy this week. This weekend we had 7 weddings. Yesterday and this weekend, and more Fridays, maybe more. We have a lot of little weddings and little bigger weddings. And I always tell my couples, a lot of what I'm getting at. I'm sorry. They do the small wedding and they say, oh, next year we'll do the big one. Next year we'll have a party when Corona is over. We'll do blah, blah, blah. That's very common. I did that too. But it doesn't happen. You can redo it next year, and it should be considered a vow renewal, right? If we're going to be, we're going to be honest to what it is. It's a vow renewal. It's not a wedding anymore. But what happens next year will be very different from the day that you actually became legally married husband and wife. It's very different. The emotions are different. You're in a different place. You're 2 different people. You have already been married for a while. It's not the same. What happens on your wedding day cannot be duplicated. This is a fact, and I am trying to help you once again. So if you're on a budget, and this couple, I guess, was somewhat in a budget because obviously they didn't spend in catering. They cooked their own stuff, and they didn't spend in a good photographer. He was an amateur, or I don't know. He was not a good photographer. But they did spend a lot in the decorations, which is a rookie mistake. Because if you're in a budget, I recommend just hire the best photographer you can have. Someone really good that you have seen all the pictures and you know and trust that the delivery will be optimal, and hire them for an hour or two. Now, I do know like some big studios, they don't do small weddings. They don't want to shoot for a couple of hours. That's also true. This is what we do. I specialize in that, and I work with this high-end photographers, and they work with me for a couple of hours, 1 hour, but they are top. And that's why I can't tell you their names beforehand. There's a whole reason for it. They don't want to, and then you go to their website, and then you can get them at a discount price, and that's not good for business. So they work with me. I have the photography as part of our packages, and you know that you're getting quality because you see our pictures. So just do 2 hours of photography or 3. You're going to have your photos during their ceremony. After the ceremony, you do portraits, the two of you doing whatever, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't use any of them. All the photos that I have on my wall are from the ceremony. I love those photos. They're all candid and they're awesome. But yeah. And then, if you want a picture with a cake or whatever, have them do the cake or pretend you're doing a toast, and then they can go. And then, yes, you can have an amateur or a cousin or a friend or whatever taking photos of the reception, because honestly, you're only going to use 1 or 2% of the reception photos. You're not going to use most of them. It's just to have, you do the family thing. You go by the tables and you do a photo with this table, a photo with that table. And like, honestly, anybody can do those photos. Who cares? So don't be cheap on the photographer. So the reason why I said she made a big mistake is she spent a lot of money in the decorations, but then little money in the photographer, which means it defeats the purpose. So now you're going to have maybe, obviously, I'm sure he took photos of the flowers and all that, but how nice are they going to be? If you're not a crafty, if you're not a real wedding photographer experience, it's not going to really capture. It's not going to translate. It's not going to be good. And I know because I took pictures with my phone. I have a good phone. I have an iPhone, the latest. It takes nice pictures, but still wasn't wow, And I bet some amateur, that's the kind of photos they would get, because you have to be a really artistic and good, crafty, experienced wedding photographer to capture the light and the angle and all of that. So, all the money spent is reflected on the photos. All right. Another thing about wedding photographers, also very common mistake people make, is to have a family member or a friend do the photos. So-and-so is going to do photos. Yeah, don't do that. Even if they are photographers, if they're good, let's say they're the best. If they're close to you, this is my rule of thumb for everything, because I say this about officiating also, which my husband wouldn't appreciate because he wrote a book about friends officiating. So he likes it when you have your friend officiate your wedding, because then they'll buy his book. But I don't like it. I think when you have a friend or family member officiating for you, that's a mistake. And it's also a mistake to have a friend taking your pictures, because if it is a real friend, if it's a close friend or a family member, honey, emotions run high. Okay, we're all human beings. And he can be very good at his job when he's working, but now he's not working, he's shooting for a friend, and there's added pressure there. And when there's pressure, there's anxiety. When there's anxiety, mistakes happen, because you're not in your zone. You understand that? Even if you say, no, he's a professional, it'll be fine. Okay, so let's say that's the case. Now you're being kind of a jerk to your friend because he won't be able to enjoy the wedding at all because he has to put his hat on, his, working guy hat on and shoot your wedding. So that's not good. Nobody wants to be working when they want to be socializing, right? Try not to. And if you do have a friend who definitely wants to give you that as your wedding present and they insist, all right, you can say yes. But do yourself a favor and hire a real wedding photographer for 1 hour. That's all. 1 hour during the ceremony, and after the ceremony, a couple of portraits. That's all you need. All you need is 2 pictures that you're going to put on the wall or you're going to see, all the time. So just 1 hour with someone who is legit, really good, and then you're good. You can click that, check that off. Don't put your friends in that situation, in that position. Another thing, don't hire photographers who are not wedding photographers. I've said this before. If you need a wedding photographer, do go to Wedding Wire or The Nut. People who advertise there are serious about their work. The Wedding Wire is really expensive for vendors to advertise there. So anybody who's advertising there is serious. They mean business. They do wedding photography, hopefully full time. And then you can, corroborate, check the references, their testimonials and referrals and all that stuff. And usually they would have other vendors, other wedding professionals that, support them or promote them, or what's the word when you advocate for them, I guess. I can't come up with a word. But anyway, do your research. And like I said, you should know what the going rate is. So if it is too low, if it is under the going rate, then that's a red flag. And yes, I forgot. So hire a wedding photographer, not just any photographer. There's a lot of photographers there's so many types of photography. Fashion photography and headshot photography and actors photography, and it's a big difference. It's different sensitivity, different eye. Also, a real wedding photographer is trained by the practice that they have by doing this constantly, every day, every week, and they already know, they have intuition about things. They can anticipate when things are going to happen, and they're there. I mean, once again, I tell you, I've been officiating weddings for over 12 years. I've seen it all, and I'm there officiating. I've seen this one photographer, they pick him online. I guess they like, oh my God, so many things to say. When you see the pictures, you see the person's photos that they're posting online, don't be fooled. Come on, don't be stupid. Use your brain again. You see how many they post, and you have to understand they're going to post the best that they have, and touch and retouch and tweak and change. So this couple hires some men to be a photographer they found online. So I'm doing the wedding. The photographer is there. He was such an amateur. I don't know how. I don't know where they found him. I don't know how they found him. I don't know why they chose him. I don't understand it, because it was the worst I've ever seen. He kept interrupting the ceremony, which is such a big no, and asking, they were exchanging the rings. Any wedding photographer will be doing all these photos constantly while the couple is speaking, and while they're exchanging rings, looking at each other's candid. It's like 75 candid photos that you would typically have within the 15-20 minutes of the ceremony. Average, my experience. Between 60 and 75 photos of the ceremony with everyone's expressions, and a close-up on the rings, and a close-up the flowers, and the mother, crying, and all of that. and the flower people, and this guy kept interrupting and making them do it again and do it again and do this and put this over here. I had to tell him, listen, sorry, we're going to do the ceremony, we're going to finish, and then if you want, we can reenact. Okay, we'll do it again for you. We'll pretend so you can take the picture. I felt bad for the guy, but come on. So those are things that you never think about, right? Maybe the couple saw his photos online and was like, oh, he's good. Oh, he takes good pictures. Yeah, I know. Also, the personality is important. Not only do you want a good photographer, you want a photographer who knows how to communicate with you and knows how to work with you and get the best of you and make you feel comfortable and make you feel important and at ease, who can get the best photos from you. Remember, it's a very special day. You're going to be nervous. Your partner's going to be nervous. Other things are maybe happening, family stuff, I don't know. You don't know. So the least thing that you want is to have a headstrong drama queen or a very rigid kind of professional that is going to boss you around, tell you what to do, and you go, no, turn like this, put your head like this, which I've seen also. I've seen photographers, like he has obviously he knows what he wants. He understands that this is very important for him because he has to satisfy his clients with the end product. But the experience was not enjoyable at all. I remember, this happened years ago. I remember this one guy, and I know this lady spent a lot of money. I don't know who he was, but it was her first wedding and she was 50. I talked about the geriatric weddings the other day. And when someone is over 45 and it's their first wedding, it's a big deal. And she was a very sweet lady. And she obviously was a big deal. She went all out. And I'm sure she got like the best photographer she could find, because the guy he meant business. And you can tell, and he was with his team, that he was awful. His person, I'm hard to intimidate, as you may have noticed. I have a strong personality, but I felt, taken aback by him. He was just so rigid and so, Anyway, so that matters as well. So see, there's so many things. And this is why you want to work with someone who has done this before, who can help you and guide you. And now it sounds like thank you for the thumbs up. This sounds like a sales pitch, but it's true. Like if you're going to get a wedding planner or coordinator, make sure they have the right experience and the right personality, and they're not afraid to speak up. Like in my case, you already know, wedding packages, NYC, we sell the package. Everything's done. So I've already worked with my people many times, more than many times, several times. I developed a relationship. We all understand each other. They know what I want from them. They are fabulous at delivering the best. And I'm always looking out for you. I know what is needed. I know what you need. I know what you want. And we bring it. Yeah. So, but if you can't have someone like me doing your wedding, there's only one me. So I understand. At least do your homework and do yourself a favor. Do not go cheap on the photographer. And going back to my wedding, when I got married, my husband suggested calling this other photographer that he knew. But she was, I'm embarrassed to say, but I'll tell you, so hopefully you'll learn from my mistakes. She was $50 more expensive than the guy that I wanted, that I got, who I like. He was a nice guy. I mean, he was a good photographer, but she charged $50 more per hour than this other guy. And I was like, no, I wasn't going to spend $50 more. Sorry, I have allergies today. Sorry. And that was stupid. That was stupid of me. And also the fact that my husband said to the photographer, don't process them, just give me the thing, give me the chip. That was a big mistake, big rookie mistake, big. So don't do that. And yeah, and the reason why it's silly, I really encourage you to spend the right amount for your wedding photographer. Don't be silly. The money is going to come. Just put it on a credit card and you can pay it installments for a year. If you had to pay $50 a month, who cares? It's not a big deal, especially if you're planning to stay together for life. It's nothing. So what if you pay for your photography for a year? I mean, I wish I had. I wish I had done things a lot different, but I was very price conscientious, very money conscientious on my wedding. I wanted to save in everything. And yeah, because we both my husband and I have been in the wedding industry for so long, we thought we can do this, which we did. But yeah, mistakes. Don't do that. Do yourself a favor also. Try to do as little as possible. This poor man yesterday cooking his dinner for 30 people. He was sweating when I got there. He's like, working hard in the kitchen. Because why? Just cater it. What could it, $2,000 you spend? That's what we spent. We cater our food for 50 people. It was about 2,000. All right, just do it. Just do it. The money will come back. Life will pay you back. Life will bring you extra money if you need to. Be kind to yourselves. And yeah, give this special day the reverence that it deserves. It really pains me when I see these bad photographers. It bothers me very much. I keep saying this. I know every week it seems I'm talking about the same thing. But it just, yeah, it bothers me. And don't spend so much money in decorations. I don't get that either. See? I don't understand it. Decorations are always expensive and they're a pain in the butt. It's so annoying. I don't do decorations for our weddings. I get asked that a lot. People want to buy, do you do decorations? I said, no. First of all, I don't know how. I don't have an eye for decorations. So, you should only do things that you're good at. I know my limits. No, thank you. I can recommend. I have people who do that. They can hire them. But what for? Now you're going to spend a few extra $100. Nobody cares. At the end, nobody cares. And the only photos that you will care about, that you will cherish, are the ones that is the two of you looking at each other with love. The only photos that you will always look at and you will cherish are those that are reminding you of the feelings that you had that day, all the emotions that you were feeling that day. That's it. Everything else is noise. Anyway, thank you for watching so much. Thank you. If you have questions, you can always ask me, send me a text, etc. I'm going to go. Of course, I screw up today again. I don't know how to do this YouTube thing. And yeah. Anyway, can win them all. I will go now and write in the description the link for the city clerks, the Cupid thing. Thanks for the information. You're very welcome. Thank you for writing. I really appreciate it. If there's anything else that you need, let me know. I'm always happy to help. I am. I don't want you to make the mistakes I made. So, yes, you can ask. And if I know it, I'll tell you. And if I don't know it, I say, I don't know. Like with the decorations, I was blown away yesterday. I had to be honest. It was gorgeous. I'm always surprised how can they create these things, right? It was awesome. But again, And your guests are not going to care either. Your guests will care about the food, the drinks. Was it good food? Did they eat well? Did they drink? Was it good music? That's what they care about. Do you think they're going to care if you spend $4,000 in arrangements? They'll say, oh, that's nice. And that's it. They don't, because, I was invited to a very fancy wedding. This is a couple of years ago. My husband and I went to Costa Rica to some royalty guy from Spain. What was he? A duke or something? I don't know. He was some royalty. Very fancy, very over the top. They had 3 different bands. They have a Rolls Royce rolling in. They change outfits 3 times in the night. They had face painters. They had, oh my God, it was like, oh, beyond over the top, over the top, over the top, over the top. And then the food sucked. The food was terrible. I was so upset. I'm sitting there in this fancy setting. It was all fancy, fancy, fancy. And then we get like the first course was some weird thing. I don't even know what it was. I can't explain. I can express. And it was tiny and it was whatever. And then the second dish came. And then the dessert was equally stupid. It was kind of like it was like a bowl like this. And it looked like a combination between mousse and Jell-O. Ugh. And then I'm waiting forever and a day for the sweet table. I'm thinking, okay, they should roll in like, bonbons and cakes and pancakes and chocolate fountains and something. No, I don't know when they came out. I was there until like maybe 2 in the morning, and then I went to bed because we were staying in the same hotel. It was awful. So that's what I remember. Do you think I care about all their decor? No, I don't. They spend obviously a lot of money in it, but my food was not good. So that's what I remember about that wedding. So think of what's important. Food, drinks, having a good time. That's what matters. And your photographer. Get good photos. Well, if you're photogenic, it helps too, right? So try to practice being at ease and enjoying yourself. Don't be stiff on your wedding day. All right, and if you need help with that, you tell me, and I'll send you some meditations for free that you can do. All right, guys, I stayed too long. I feel it's almost 12, and yeah, thank you for watching again. Sorry that I took so long. All my love. See you next week. Bye. Bye. How do I